DJ Metal Craig of Craig's Metal Storm here. One of the members of Sage is with me today. Hey, how's it going? And would you like to introduce yourself and what position you do in the band?
Sure. What's up, man? I'm Matt. I'm the bass player for Sages.
Please go back in the history of the band Sages and how it all got started.
Yeah, well, we're a band from Northern California, the Sacramento area. Yeah, I'll try to keep this as concise as I can. The singer Dino, who's essentially the main songwriter, he and I go way back in the Sacramento music scene. And Sages is a project that essentially he conceptualized and put together in his bedroom, really, in his home studio. And when he got ready to kind of bring it to a live application, then kind of, he enlisted the help of myself and Ryan, our guitar player, and then Chris, our drummer. So we go back, I mean, we're probably going over, at least over a decade, if not, into 2 decades of knowing each other and playing music in the same scene. So we all come from other bands in the Northern California area. So it's a pretty, Sacramento is kind of a small, incestuous music town. So we all know each other.
Cool, man. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this next one, but let's try for it anyways. How did you guys come up with the band name Sages?
Ooh, that's probably a question for our singer. He's a very spiritual guy. It's, Sages is in reference to the fact that we're all sages in his eyes. We're all kind of wise and we all have our own perspective. So that's my understanding of where the term Sages comes from.
Who designed the Sages band logo?
That I couldn't tell you. I don't know where that came from. It's Dino, our singer, with in sort of some collaboration with maybe Ryan, some other buddies. But it wasn't me. I can tell you that.
All good. Just thought I asked because I never know. Sometimes the bands do the logos themselves. Other times they hire someone out to do it for them.
Sure. No, I know it was an internal effort. They didn't hire a graphic designer or artist to do it. They came up with it themselves, Dino, and I couldn't tell you who. So
all good, man. This next one is a good one. Wait, you answered that earlier in the interview before I even got to ask it. I was going to ask you all who was in the current lineup of the band, but you answered that earlier.
Look at me. I'm proactive, man.
Yeah, the single titled Walk Away. Would you mind talking about how this song came to fruition?
Yeah, all of our songs, they start with Dino. Like I said, he's got a home studio. So he really brings us, if not a fully completed demo, like a very well put together demo. He brought Walk Away to us, and then we kind of sort of broke into it and kind of worked our individual parts out. That's one thing that he does like to do, is incorporate our vision as well. That's really what I think kind of makes it the full song. But so that's where it came from as far as logistically. I mean, it was built in his bedroom, and then we kind of put our nuance on it and flush it out. All of the songs, we went down to Southern California and we tracked them all and mixed them all with Bo Burchell from Seosin. And he is an amazing producer, engineer, mixer. So he did pretty much everything Sages has recorded, even stuff that we haven't released yet, is all done by him. The song itself, I think, is probably a personal question as far as lyrical content and kind of what it's about. that's probably a question for Dino. I know for me personally, what I take from it is, it's kind of a, I won't say like a coming of age song or anything, but I think it's about kind of coming to a place to where you're confident enough to know what's toxic around you and being able to, find that strength to just like get out of that situation, i.e. walk away. So yeah.
Just so you know, that song "Walk Away," as you were talking about it, it reminded me of
Mhm.
a toxic situation I was in my past when I was drinking and drugging. I had a friend who come over, harassed me every day to drink with him. And so I got so pissed off, I had a blackberry-induced play with him. And that's how everything ended. And then I got into sobriety after that.
Yeah, I mean, my personally me, my parents are both recovering addicts and alcoholics. I basically grew up in a 12-step program, so I can relate to that personally. And there probably is an element of kind of hitting bottom in walk away. So yeah, that's cool. That's cool that there's a connection there.
Right on, man. Before we get into the next question, just wanted to say I'm having fun talking to you today, man.
Awesome. Likewise. Appreciate it.
Yeah, a single title "Happy." Would you mind talking about how this song came to fruition?
Yeah, in a similar way, it's as far as the songs being put together, in a part wise or sonically, like nothing much changes there. They all start with Dino. So I'll kind of go into more of the lyrical aspect of it. Happy is a breakup song, ironically enough. That was, it's basically a song about kind of realizing that the relationship that you're in with someone is starting to fizzle, and not holding any animosity, or hard feelings, kind of respecting that the road, there's a fork in the road, and you've kind of grown apart. And essentially that song is exactly what the chorus is saying. I hope you're happy. Like it's like, and it could probably be interpreted, with a bit of sarcasm too, like, well, I hope you're happy now, like you screwed this up kind of thing, or like you're never going to find anyone better. I mean, if somebody takes that from it, then okay. I mean, that's the beauty of song, right? It's open to interpretation. For me, in knowing where it came from, I think it's about, just being like, look, it didn't work out with us. I'm gonna go on with my life. You go on with your life. No hard feelings, and kind of got to respect each other's paths.
Do you have any other new material you'd like to talk about from Sages that is coming out?
Yeah, so both of those songs that we talked about, Walk Away and Happy, are on an EP that we literally just released within days ago. On all platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, across the board. Sages EP #1 is what we're calling it. It's a black album cover art with the gray one and the Sages logo across it. So that would be the one thing that I would definitely steer people towards. If you like both of those songs that we talked about today, then you get 3 more that are, I think, some of my proudest work in Sages. I think they're awesome. And it's available everywhere. So
What are the band's immediate music career goals?
Not to, I don't know, not to sound like we don't care, because clearly we care. We put a lot of effort, time, and energy into this project. We would like, to entertain any opportunity that comes our way. If that is mega stardom, then okay. I don't think any of us are chasing anything. I think first and foremost, our goal is to have fun and have a thriving relationship between the 4 of us. That's really what brought us together. And that's, I think, why we're so protective of Sages, period. We don't play a lot. We're very, we're very picky and calculated about the shows that we do. because like I said, we're not chasing anything. You know, we all come from bands that have had record deals. You know, we're all seasoned musicians. We've all toured a large part of the world. Like I said, we've all been on major labels. So this is really a passion project for the four of us, which I think makes it more special because there isn't a motive. There is no, well, we hope that we make it, quote unquote. I mean, we've made it as far as we're concerned in the aspect that like we just love doing it. So, you know, but on that same note, you know, if there was an opportunity that fell in our lap or that came our way, like we would entertain almost anything. You know, I mean, we went down to Tucson, Arizona. So from where we're at in Sacramento, you know, Tucson, Arizona is a 14-hour drive one way. And on a whim, we you know, loaded up the van and deadheaded down to Tucson to play a 30-minute set because we really wanted to do this thing with this you know, social media influencer. He put together a really cool show, and we thought it would be fun to do it, something different and outside the box. So, you know, the only thing in it for us was sounded like fun. So I guess where I'm going with this is like, you know, that kind of encompasses the spirit of where we're at. We'll do anything as long as it's fun and it makes sense for us to do, you know.
I get you there, man, and that's awesome
Yeah.
that you actually made this a fun project for you guys.
Yeah.
This next one is going to get you laughing. I asked some of the bands that you might not be able to answer, you might not. Does the
Okay.
band have any band gear endorsements?
We don't. I know that you know, a couple of us have had endorsements in the past. At this point, no, we don't exclusively play for anyone or get any gear for free or discounted. Again, we're not opposed to it, but it just, we haven't chased it. Like I said before, we haven't, you know, just haven't done it. So, and I think a lot of that probably comes into like, you know, I mean, today it's, you know, I feel like the entire music industry it revolves around social media numbers, right? So it's like, how many streams do you have? How many followers do you have on this platform? And so it's like, and for the most part, Sages, I mean, we're a young kind of, not underground. It's not like we're not exposed, but like we're a young unknown entity at this point. So there's not really a lot for you know, a gear company or, you know, I mean, a Fender or a Gibson or a Marshall or an Ampeg or I mean, I know I'm going old school with this stuff, but for a lot of these major companies, I mean, what's in it for them to take on a band like us other than they just love the music or love the guys, which I think any company would, you know. But we don't have the numbers to really flex to really go after endorsement deals or sponsorships like that. I mean, we're realistic. We know we don't, you know. That's partly why we want to do these podcasts and get out there and kind of just, you know, expose people to, hey, Sages is out there. So if you like this kind of stuff, go listen to it.
This next one will get you really thinking. Who are the band's musical influences?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, we all come from different, I mean, I know this sounds so cliche, but like we all come from different worlds outside of the rock world. I think there are bands that we can all agree on, but I couldn't even say that there's an influence specifically or multiple influences specifically for Sages. You know, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, like that would probably be a question for our singer, Dino, because a lot of this music starts with him. You know, like I said, we all input and we all, you know, flush out ideas and you know, put the icing on the cake and the bells and whistles. But I think ultimately, like our biggest influence is just like, or influences are, it's really about songs, not even so much bands or lifestyle or genre. It's like we've all come to a place now where we've been doing this long enough that it's like we just appreciate good songs. So whether we're listening to a country artist or we're listening to a rock artist or a pop artist, or I mean, you name it, you know. If a good song is a good song, that's our biggest influence. We just want to write good songs, you know, not, we don't necessarily go like, okay, we all love this band, so let's sound like this band. Like, I mean, if that happens, then it happens organically, but there's no, yeah, it's tough for me to answer that question.
I see what you're saying, and that's all good, man. Does the band have any social media outlets it can be reached on?
We do. I personally am not on Facebook, but I know that Sages has a Facebook page. I believe that everything across the board on socials, you know, Instagram, Facebook, you know, TikTok is pretty much non-existent at this point with us. We do have one, but we're not super active. But everything across the board is We Are Sages. So, or at We Are Sages. So it's at We Are Sages on Facebook, at We Are Sages on Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, so WEARE Sages.
Cool, man. That leaves us with 4 more questions for the interview, and then we'll need the station IDs for the radio station on my show.
Okay.
Please give some bass advice or tips for starting out bass players.
Ooh, man. You know, I think something that I've always subscribed to, and maybe purists would have a problem with this, but for me personally, I think just the more you can listen to a song and kind of like define's not the word I'm looking for, identify your place in it, then I mean the better off you're going to be. I guess what I'm saying is, like, I really only know bass playing in a rock world, a rock application. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm some bass virtuoso. I'm not. I grind away with a pick. You know, I come from a guitar background, so I'm kind of a one stringer guy. So I know that my place in Sages is not to be out front, and you know, my ego and my, you know, need, if there is any, to be out front has to be backed off. That's not my place in a rock application as a bass player. So I guess my advice to any upcoming starting bass players is to kind of like know your role and just know that less is more a lot, especially in the rock world. Like, you're just the pillow underneath the guitar riffs, and you got to be okay with that. You know, that's not to say you're not going to have your moments and you're not going to be respected. For me personally, I respect guys more. Like, I look at bass like you don't even know it's there. You only know when it's not there, if that makes sense. So I would just kind of put that out there to young upcoming bass players. Like, it's okay to be like noticeably unnoticed or unnoticeably noticed. I don't know what I'm trying to, how to actually articulate it, but I think you know what I'm saying.
This next one might get you laughing a little bit. It's a good one though. Who is your favorite musical influence that got you started to music on the bass as in a musician?
Man, well, I'm a singer guitar player by nature, but ironically enough, the person that got me inspired to play music was a bass player, and that bass player was Nikki Sixx. I was probably 8 or 9 years old. I'm aging myself now. I'll just say I'm closer to 50 than I am to 40. But I had a babysitter at the time when I was probably 8 or 9, that my parents sent me to his house to be babysat, and he was 17 or 18, if I remember correctly. And I'll never forget, I saw the album the actual record cover sitting out for Shout at the Devil. And I was just immediately intrigued. And I thought Nikki Sixx was the coolest looking dude of all of them. And he just happened to be a bass player. So even though I'm not a bass, like I don't consider myself, like, that's not my forte. That's not my main instrument. A bass player happened to inspire me to play music, period. So yep, Nikki Sixx, man.
Right on. And the funny thing is, I actually started in the hard rock scene myself with Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, Judas Priest, Halford, Motley Crue, Sabbath. Then I developed into heavier stuff like Slayer, King Diamond, Deicide,
Yep.
Incantation. I'm actually a death metal vocalist myself, but if I try and do death metal vocals on here, it may cut out and not pick up in the interview. I tried a couple
Right.
and it just cut right out because of how loud I am. I learned how to do it without a microphone.
Right. Hell
So
yeah.
I'm super loud. I actually going to tell a funny story before we get on to the last two questions of the interview. I was at 666 night in 2006 doing a show live with my girlfriend, a bass player, me on bass, a guitarist, and a drummer. And I did a grindcore streak that was so high and so loud, I blew the PA speaker right out.
That's awesome, dude. That is pure metal, dude.
Yeah, and then to this day, I've gone and seen shows at Royal Albert since they reopened it, and the PA speaker isn't even fixed right. Still pops and crackles in places.
Wow, you left your mark, man.
Yep.
That's awesome.
We're going to get down to the last two questions now so we can get into the station IDs and get you on to your next interview if you have one.
Sure, man.
What is the newest band musically you've been jamming on from your music arsenal?
Ooh, that's a good one. So there's a band called Polaris, and I believe they're from, this is going to sound really ignorant. It's either Australia or the UK. Maybe but they're heavy. But I've really been digging this new record that they have. I think, God, what is it called? Fatalism. But I really dig that band. There's something about it where it's, I don't know, like there's hardcore elements, even though it's kind of metalcore. But yeah, Polaris, that's one band that I can think of on the top of my head.
Okay, and that's cool, man. Just so you know, there's one that you should check out that's from the technical death metal scene / technical deathcore scene if you haven't heard them before. Rings of Saturn.
Rings of Saturn? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll check them out.
They are crazy. They go with alien-based themes as their lyrical themes.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, cool.
And that leaves us with the last question of the interview. And I'll need the station IDs after that. What new band news do you have on the Sages front? As in anything we haven't covered so far in this interview?
Yeah, no, I think we got most of the most of the stuff that's kind of current going on with Sages. I mean, the thing that I would like to make sure that we touch on, we did, which is the new EP, Sages EP1. It's out on all platforms. We do have a number of songs. We're in the double digits of songs that are in the can that haven't been released yet. So I would say to continue to just follow Sages, spin it on Spotify, help us, kind of substantiate the numbers a little bit, and then more music will be coming, and live shows, for sure. Yeah. So.
Right on. And before we get out of this interview and do the station IDs, I'd like to thank Bob for setting us up with the interview today, for Mangled Music Radio and Craig's Metal Storm.
Okay, so I got to say all that?
No, that's what I was thinking.
Oh,
the station
okay,
ID
awesome.
now comes up, which is, hey, this is Matt of Sages, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
Mangled Music Radio?
Mangled Music Radio.
Okay. Hey, what's up? This is Matt from Sages, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
And the second one is for my personal show, Craig's Metal Storm.
Okay. Hey, what's up? This is Matt, and you're listening to Craig's Metal Storm.
Cool. Thank you very much for your time, buddy. And thank you very much for the interview.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I really do. Thanks.
Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
All right, man. You too.